So yesterday Chris and I knocked out a lot of work on the truck. Pretty much everything up here is wired up. Redid a lot of the stuff here so that it's not stupid. Like the wire to the alternator was just connected to the bolt, so I connected it to this actual alternator lead here. Distributor's wired up to an ignition switch, starter's wired up, fuse box is wired up inside the truck where you can, because the fuse box we got has like little lights that light up when a fuse blows, so I got that in a spot that's out of the way. You're not going to catch it with your feet, but it's still visible. Got rid of the cruise control because that's not going to stay in here. We got a measurement for a power steering belt. This isn't final fitted. I got to go get a spacer from my dad's. We started on the exhaust, and what I wanted to do was Y them over into the passenger side and then have it come, let's see if you guys can see it. And there's a spot in the frame right there that there's plenty of gap between the top of the frame and the bottom of the bed. I wanted to have the pipe come over and then come out the bedside here, but today in about 2 hours is the third to last test and tune at US 131. So pretty much what we're gonna do is just get the thing as good as we can and try and make it out there today. It doesn't need much left. We got a list over here, and this is pretty much everything we could think of to like get it all finished. So you can see training lines are done. Just have to finish the exhaust, which he ran out of gas the other day with his welder, so I got to run over and grab mine, and we just got to finish weld the exhaust here and then either weld it to the collector there or grab a clamp and just that'll be done. Finish wiring. The only thing I have left to finish wiring for now is the tack. Aside from that, everything else is pretty much done. I need to tighten the fitting on the oil pressure gauge. The shift cable, we think we have that to where it'll work, but we need to check it. Throttle bracket, it worked before, it'll work again. We just have to hook it up. Coolant, he's grabbing some right now. Training fluid, he's grabbing some right now. Timing, we're just going to check the timing. He said the engine should have about 30 degrees in it right now. It'll probably want like 36 degrees, but I just want to check it to see where it's at. I mean, you saw in the last video that it fired like right up and it sounded pretty good. So I'm not real concerned with where it's at as long as the thing's running. And then this one isn't necessary because the throttle cable that's on the truck worked, but he has another one from his 350 swap Jeep that we're gonna try. And then the fan shroud just has to get bolted in, and he's picking up a universal dipstick right now. So there isn't a whole lot of things to do, just a few tiny little things. And like I said, we got 2 hours, and the test and tune goes from noon to 6, so we've got plenty of time. I'm going to get the tack wired up and start moving on to some other things, and then, well actually no, I gotta go grab the welding bottle, power steering spacer and stuff like that, and then we'll get to wiring up the tack. Alright, transmission dipstick is in. Chris is down there draining the transmission fluid right now so we can put some Fresh Boy stuff in it. Jamming some Johnny Cash. Like I said earlier, got everything up here pretty much wired up. Just want to go through and clean it and put some this loom on to make it look a little nicer. And then aside from the fan shroud and power steering bullshit, we're pretty much done in here, I think, and fluids. And then in here, just have to wire up power ground and the signal. Oh yeah, the signal wire out there for the tack. Got the fuse box under there. Then we need to get the windows up, which I think we might be able to just find the window fuse in here and put power to the other side. And I think that'll send juice in here. We'll just plug the what'd you do? Oh fuck.
It's this fucking lip on this drain pan, dude.
Alright, and then I got my welding gas right here. I'll throw that on and try and get these all finished up. All right. Mufflers are all welded up. It's moving a little fast there, but what?
You got mufflers done. Time and I managed to fuck up 2 things over an hour.
That's funny.
I'll have this done by the time you're done with everything else.
Yeah. I'll get the truck done and then you can put the pan back on. Alright, so I think I'm going to move on to wiring the tack up. So if you've never wired a tack up, I'll make it real simple. If I can get my fingers to work. So black is the ground, red is the power to it. This is supposed to be on a switched power source, but we're just going to run it right to that fuse box right now. And green is the signal wire from the distributor. White is for like the backlighting and stuff on it. You'd hook this into something that only comes on when you have the lights on, preferably. We're not going to worry about that one right now. We're not going to give a shit about it. We're just going to be hooking up these 3. And like I said, this red one's supposed to be switched 12 volt, but we're just going to have it constant power for now, just because race truck. We're trying to make it to the track. What happened?
Dude, bro, it's all over my fucking sweatshirt. God damn it.
Sounds like somebody owes me a tube of RTV. Alright Chris, how is just throw a bead of silicone on the trans pan going?
This is what throw a bead of silicone on the transmission pan is turned into.
You're having a good day. Alright, there we go. Tack is all wired up aside from the backlight on it. Like I said, we just have it running down to fuse box right there. So the only things left before we can actually fire it up is the brake booster line, just to plug off that vacuum leak, finish up the exhaust, and shift cable. Is that hooked up or?
Nope, not yet.
Alright.
I was gonna actually let you crawl under there.
Let me get in the puddle. And if we don't make it to the track today, it's not the end of the world. There's still 2 more test and tunes. It was just convenient that there was the one today and the weather's really nice out right now. So we are going to keep trying to just knock things out and get the truck to the track today, just to see what it runs. It'll probably be mid-15s, but any day at the track, we'll take it.
I'm getting tall.
For a long time when you like just finally let it go and you feel it in your teeth, you're like,
I
oh.
don't think I've ever felt.
I don't know if
in
I've
my
ever
teeth.
felt it in my teeth.
Oh my god. You obviously never had a dude piss on you before.
What time is it?
It's first start time.
What time is
Maybe
it?
burnout time.
4:08. Oh wow. I don't think we're making it to the track today.
I hope this battery's got enough.
Me too. Ooh, you tried. You're pumping fuel already.
Seth, pull my truck around, grab the jump gear.
Alright, so obviously we got pretty much everything taken care of except actually I think we got everything taken care of that we were trying to get taken care of. Let me go look at the list real quick. Yeah, the only thing we haven't done is the fan shroud, and that's, we can take care of that later. So we're obviously about to try and charge the battery a little bit. It cranked over a little slow, but it tried to fire up. About to hear it for the first time with some mufflers on it and everything. But yeah, I think she'll be a runner. I think we'll be able to at least take it down the road and test everything, make sure the trans is gonna work, because we don't know anything about this transmission. He picked it up from a dude in I think like Indiana, and brought it back up, and all we've done is just power washed it and threw some fluid in it. Yeah, we got everything wired up. Obviously, the ignition and the starter are working. I got the doors fairly stripped. I got the wires for the window motors, and these ones you just put power one way, it goes up, put power the other way, and it goes back down. So we'll eventually get that wired to an actual switch, probably like right in, well, maybe right in here somewhere. We'll see about that later. Perfect. I touched all the headers and they were all getting mighty warm. So I know they're all firing. I just want to
make sure they're firing.
Smoky.
Yeah, just want to double check the firing order. Yeah, that carb's trash on it.
So much sound as it's making. It seems like it's accelerating a whole bunch.
Yeah. It'd be nice if he was using his blinker.
Yeah, well, fucking dick. Does the blinker not work though?
No, we cut the entire harness out of the truck.
That's what I was going to say.
No, it's a race truck.
We don't need no blinker.
I don't know, did you hear that?
Hear what?
That, like, when I got on it, it was like boom, boom.
I didn't hear that. I just heard like it miss.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I think that's just because the carb's probably junk.
You think?
I think so.
I hope so.
'Cause I mean, like everything else in the motor is good or new.
Yeah, all the bearings.
Here, let me break my ears and ride with you.
It's not that loud.
It's loud back here.
All right. Start, baby.
Here, try.
Definitely better than what it was with the 60.
front brakes are still hanging up.
Yeah.
Let's see if it does a burnout.
Alright. As long as the traffic holds out.
That was sad.
That's what.
Well, it was good for a second until the car backfired and then it died. Now the battery's too dead to start it. You wanna pull around and we'll use this to jump start it?
Yeah.
Or run up there and grab his truck? Yeah, do that.
Yeah, we can do that. Got him.
Are you out of gas?
It might be.
Alright, just got it back into the garage. The front brakes are hanging up. The carb is junk on it, but it runs and drives, and it goes through all the gears, which we couldn't say before. So since it is 5 o'clock now, and it's like 45 minutes to get to the track, I got a feeling we're not going to make it today. The things we know it needs: a new battery. We'll fire it up, check to make sure it's charging. I'm pretty sure it is though. We just didn't drive it very far. So it needs a battery. It needs either a new carb or this one cleaned badly, and we need to check the brakes and everything on it because, like I said, those front wheels are hanging up pretty bad. And to me, that throttle pedal is stiff as fuck. Well, how do you think it sounded?
Sounded good when you were up here.
Yeah, when I was at like 5,000 RPM.
Oh, jack it up, take the front wheels off. Jack it.
I'll jack it. Oh, that's the guy that lives across the street. He's like, you need to tow back up to the house? And I was like, nah, we'll probably be good. Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you need a little bit of everything here.
Rotors, pads, caliper.
Oh yeah.
Same on this side.
Yeah, this caliper is junk. The rotor's not, well, I guess it.
Grooved like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, this one dips in a good
This one's got
20 thou. There's not much pad left. This cylinder's out of ways. I didn't notice that at first.
There's no pad left on the inside one on this one.
Yeah, this one pretty much gone too.
So calipers are junk, fucking pads, rotors.
Good thing parts are cheap for these trucks.
Yeah, no shit. The
You can-
fucking calipers like
20 bucks. Frame and everything looks fine though. All right, well, we know where we're at. Now what do we do?
what?
All right, we got calipers off. These front pads are non-existent, if that focuses. There you go, look at that. And that side freed up just fine. This one had a little bit of an issue, so I pulled it off, threw it in the vise, got the cylinder back, all freed up. Believe it or not, this bleeder actually broke free. Could not believe that. Can you believe that? As crusty as this thing is, we're gonna reuse it. So I think all we'll need is some pads, and then we can throw it back together. We'll get the pads, throw them back on here, and then I think the front brakes will be okay, good enough. All right, it is day 3, and we have made pretty good progress with the truck this weekend. So just a quick recap. We got the drive shaft in Friday and started on the exhaust. Got that finished up yesterday. Pretty much got everything else buttoned up yesterday. We just got a little bit of fine tuning, I guess you could say, to do today, and I think it'll be a runner. I mean, obviously it is a runner. We took it down and drive yesterday, but the front brakes were hanging up. We got those taken care of. Those are all freed up. You can push the truck so much easier now. Here was, let's see, here was probably the worst brake pad that was on there, and we got some nice fresh boys on there. What I think happened is the pads were so bad, like so completely gone, that the cylinder in the caliper was pushed out to a point where it couldn't go back in. It was kind of stuck on a little bit of a ledge, but we got those in there. They all moved nice and free. We got the brakes all bled and not really noticing any leaks, so I think we're good there. So that was one of the like 3 big things that were left. The other 2 were the battery, because this battery is pretty junk. It's like 5 years old, and it just, I don't know, we probably weren't even running it long enough for it to really get charged back up anyway. But I left it on my charger overnight, so the thing should have plenty of juice in it. And then the final thing is this carburetor definitely needs some love. So I'm gonna pull that off in a second and go through it and try and clean out anything that's in there, because I don't know the history of this carb. We know that it will run a vehicle, but like you saw earlier, tried to do a burnout and the thing coughed and just died, and it stumbles, and there's kind of crappy throttle response, stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go through it and try and do as best I can. I think all the jetting should probably be close enough, so I should basically just have to like clean it and spray it out and crap like that. And then after that, we'll throw it back on there and try to take the truck out one more time. Yeah, so if it was just pulling up, that one's blocked off, and that could be why like these barrels are so dirty looking. Let's see how the truck does now. Okay, it is considerably later because we've been struggling for a while. We're on the 3rd carb, and I also think 3rd throttle cable, but this one should stay together. Where's the one that was in it? This one was kinked at such an angle that it actually rubbed right through it. Yeah, take my word for it. It rubbed through the housing. But this one seems like it should work. We're finally going to try to take the truck down the road real quick. Let's go. Roll it over a bit. Feels better. Bitch. So, hope you guys enjoyed this series of unfortunate events with Clifford over there. It's definitely a whole lot better than it was, for sure, no doubt about that, but definitely needs some tweaking. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time.